I have done 30 plus certifications and am here to guide you throughout your certification journey. In this video, we will be covering some important questions of the Microsoft MB-500 exam. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. To the important questions. Question 1. You need to update the cache disk report to meet the requirements. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Delete the existing cache disk report in the extension model and create a new report. Deleting and recreating the report removes existing functionality and is unnecessary. Then we have C. Duplicate the existing cache disk report in the extension model and add the new field to the design. Duplicating the report leads to code duplication, making maintenance and updates difficult. Then we have D. Customize the existing cache disk report in the overlaying model and add the new field to the design. Overlaying is discouraged as it creates upgrade issues and is not supported in extensions. As such, we should extend the existing cache disk report in the extension model and add the new field to the design. Thus, the correct option is B. Extending the existing report in the extension model follows Microsoft's extensibility approach, allowing modifications without altering the base model. This ensures maintainability, seamless updates, and compliance with best practices in Dynamics 365 finance and operations. Question 2. You need to modify the environment to meet the requirements for the cash discount records report. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. Create a new table named cache disk extension in the project. Creating a separate table would not integrate the new field properly with the existing cache disk data. Then we have C. Use Open Designer to add the field to the table. Open Designer does not allow direct table modifications. Extensions are required. Then we have D. Create an overlayer of cache disk in a new project and add the field. Overlaying is discouraged as it causes upgrade and maintenance issues. As such, we should create an extension of cache disk in a new project and add the field to the extended table. Thus, the correct option is A. Creating an extension of cache disk in a new project and adding the field to the extended table follows Microsoft's extensibility guidelines. This ensures that modifications are non-intrusive, maintainable, and compatible with future updates. Question 3. You are developing a batch job that processes vendor invoices. How should you ensure it runs in parallel? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. Create multiple batch tasks manually. While this works, using batch groups is the preferred scalable approach. Then we have C. Implement a sys operation framework service. Sys operations automates batch execution but does not enable parallelism by itself. Then we have D. Increase the batch job recurrence interval. This only affects scheduling frequency, not parallel execution. As such, you can ensure it runs in parallel by using a batch group with multiple threads. Thus, the correct option is A. Batch groups allow multiple tasks to run in parallel, improving performance. Question 4. You need to configure models for the project. What are two possible ways to achieve the goal? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Create a new model that extends the existing Finance Ext model. Creating a new model that extends Finance EXT is redundant. Extending an existing model within the project is sufficient. Then we have B. Overlay the existing Finance EXT model and populate the solution definition. Overlaying is discouraged as it creates maintenance and upgrade issues. As such, the two possible ways to achieve the goal are to extend the existing finance EXT model and populate the project model definition and modify the default model for new project settings in the default config.xml file and name the model finance ext. Thus, the correct options are C and D. About the options, C. Extending the existing finance ext model and populating the project model definition ensures that the new model inherits functionality while allowing customization without altering the base model. This follows Microsoft's extensibility guidelines. About D. Modifying default model for new project in default config.xml allows setting the default model for new projects, ensuring consistency in model usage across the development environment. Question 5. You need to configure filtering for the vendor past due invoices form. Which two filtering types can you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Quick filter. Quick filter only applies simple text-based filtering and lacks advanced query capabilities. Then we have C. Grid column filtering. Grid column filtering allows basic filtering on individual columns but does not support complex queries. As such, the two filtering types that we can use are advanced filter and filter pane. Thus, the correct options are B and D. About the options, B. Advanced filter allows users to create complex queries using multiple conditions, enabling precise filtering of a vendor past due invoices. It provides flexibility in searching and refining data. Then we have D. Filter pane is a built-in filtering tool that lets users apply multiple filters across different fields in a structured way, making it ideal for forms like vendor past due invoices. Question 6. You need to implement the payroll application data process. Which two objects should you create? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have C, a class that extends sys operation service base is used for service framework extensions but is not required for a standard payroll data process. Then we have D, an UI builder class that extends sys operation automatic UI builder. UI builder is only necessary when customizing the user interface, which is not needed for this process. As such, the two objects that we should create are data contract class that uses the data contract attribute and a service class that has a public method which accepts a single parameter for a contract. Thus, the correct options are A and B. About the options, A. Data contract class uses the data contract attribute defines the structure of data being processed. It ensures that the system correctly serializes and deserializes data for the payroll application. Then we have B, service class with a public method accepting a contract parameter processes the payroll data. This method is essential for executing business logic using the structured data from the contract. Question 7. You need to investigate the vendor exclusion list issue. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Navigate to the General tab, select Record Info, and then select Show All Fields. The General tab does not contain the Record Info option. It is found in the Options tab. Then we have B. Navigate to the General tab and select Personalize this form. Add a field button and the required field. Personalize this form only customizes the user interface but does not reveal hidden fields. Then we have D. Navigate to the Options tab and select Personalize this form, add a field button, and the required field. Personalization adds fields to the UI but does not help in investigating existing hidden fields. As such, we should navigate to the Options tab, select Record Info, and then select Show All Fields. Thus, the correct option is C. About the option, navigating to the Options tab, selecting Record Info, and then choosing Show All Fields allows viewing all fields, including hidden ones, to investigate the vendor exclusion list issue effectively. Question 8. You need to implement the migration requirements. Which two options can you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a data entity and bring your own database. BYOD is used for reporting and analytics rather than structured data migration. Then we have C, data entity and entity store. Entity store is optimized for Power BI reporting, not data migration. As such, the two options that we can use are a public data entity and the Excel add-in, and a data entity and a data management import jobs. Thus, the correct options are B and D. About the options, B. Public data entity allows exposing data externally, and the Excel add-in enables easy data import/export, making it useful for migration. About D. Data entities combined with data management import jobs facilitate structured data migration, ensuring bulk data transfer while maintaining data integrity. Question 9. You need to apply a form pattern to the vendor exclusion list. Which pattern should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a workspace. Workspace is for dashboards that aggregate multiple data sources, not simple lists. Then we have C, list page. List page is for larger datasets with additional functionality, which is unnecessary for this scenario. Then we have D, list view. List view is not a standard form pattern in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. As such, the pattern that we should use is simple list. Thus, the correct option is B. Simple list is used for displaying small, straightforward lists like the vendor exclusion list, where users need to view and manage a limited set of records efficiently. Question 10. Users report that a company's Dynamics 365 Finance website is slow. You suspect that a SQL query attached to the task Get Form Interaction task is the cause. You need to determine how long it takes for the query to run and return results. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, performance monitor. Performance monitor tracks system resource usage but does not directly measure SQL query execution time. Then we have C, Microsoft Edge debugging tools. Microsoft Edge debugging tools are for front-end debugging, not SQL performance analysis. Then we have D, Fiddler. Fiddler captures HTTP traffic but does not provide SQL query execution time insights. As such, we could use performance timer. Thus, the correct option is A. Performance timer helps measure SQL query execution time in Dynamics 365 Finance, making it the right tool to analyze and troubleshoot slow performance issues related to get form interaction tasks. Question 11. You use the performance timer to monitor and optimize Dynamics 365 performance. You need to view information about how many users are currently using the application. Which performance counter should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a services session provider. It monitors service related sessions, not direct user activity. Then we have C, forms. Forms tracks form related performance but does not indicate active users. Then we have D, GC. Garbage collection measures memory management and cleanup, not user sessions. As such, the performance counter that we should use is web client session. Thus, the correct option is B. Web client session tracks the number of active user sessions in Dynamics 365 Finance, making it the correct performance counter to determine how many users are currently using the application. Question 12. Company requires Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations apps to notify third-party applications when data from purchase orders is available for consumption. You need to configure the trigger to capture the purchase order data. Which mechanism should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Workflow Framework Export. Workflow Framework Export manages internal approvals, not external notifications. Then we have B. Systest Framework. Systest Framework is used for automated testing, not data capture or notifications. Then we have C. Recurring Data Entity Export. Recurring data entity export schedules exports but does not provide real time triggers. As such, the mechanism that we should use is business event. Thus, the correct option is D. Business events allows Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations to notify third party applications when purchase order data is available, making them the ideal mechanism for real time integration and automation. Question 13. You develop apps for Dynamics 365 supply chain management. You need to track changes only for sales header information by using data entities. Which change tracking option should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. Enable entire entity. Enabling entire entity tracks all fields including irrelevant ones, leading to unnecessary data processing. Then we have C. Enable primary table. Enable primary table tracks changes at the table level but may include unwanted fields beyond sales headers. Then we have D. Disable change tracking. Disabling change tracking prevents tracking altogether, which does not meet the requirement. As such, the change tracking option that we should use is enable custom query. Thus, the correct option is A. Enable custom query allows tracking changes only for specific fields, making it ideal for monitoring sales header information without tracking unnecessary data. This improves performance and efficiency. Question 14. An error message displays when a user tries to save an outgoing electronic reporting document. You need to ensure that the document format supports electronic reporting. Which three formats can you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have D, OpenXML. It is a standard but is not directly supported as an electronic reporting output format. Then we have E, Microsoft Excel Workbook. It is not a standard electronic reporting format, though it is used in some reports. As such, the three formats that we can use are JSON, XML, and Microsoft Word document. Thus, the correct options are A, B, and C. About the options, A. JSON is a supported format for electronic reporting, commonly used for structured data exchange with external systems. Then we have B. XML is widely used in electronic reporting to structure and store data for integrations and regulatory reporting. Then we have C. Microsoft Word document is supported for generating formatted reports such as invoices or legal documents in electronic reporting. Question 15. Company wants to integrate Dynamics 365 Finance with an external application. The apps must send each other customer's name and address as a single column to the external application. You need to add a computed column to the first customer entity. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A from the customer entity table. Select the columns node, select new, and then select mapped column. Mapped column directly maps to an existing field, but a computed column requires a custom definition. Then we have B, create an extension for the table, and then add the new display field. Extending table adds a new field at the table level, but does not affect data entities directly. Then we have D, from the customer entity table, select the column node, select new, and then select string unmapped column. Adding an unmapped column without an extension does not follow best practices for entity customization. As such, we should create an extension of the customer entity table, select new, and then select string unmapped column. Thus, the correct option is C. Creating an extension of customer entity and adding a string unmapped column allows defining a computed column that concatenates the customer's name and address into a single column for integration. Question 16. The company uses Dynamics 365 Finance. You need to migrate all custom report artifacts from a development environment to a cloud hosted Tier 1 test environment that has Visual Studio installed. Which two actions should you perform? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Apply a deployment package. Applying a deployment package is used for moving compiled solution, but not for individual project migrations. Then we have C, create a deployment package. Creating a deployment package is useful for full deployments, but is unnecessary for migrating custom reports. As such, the two actions that we should perform are export the project as an .axpp file and import the project into a cloud-hosted environment from an .axpp file and ensure that the overwrite elements option is selected. Thus, the correct options are B and D. About the options, B. Exporting the project as an .axpp file allows transferring all custom report artifacts, including metadata and source code for migration. Then we have D. Importing the .axpp file into the cloud-hosted environment ensures that custom reports are correctly deployed with the overwrite elements option ensuring updates to existing artifacts. Question 17. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You make changes to an existing class. You need to compare the code that is in source control with the updated class. In Visual Studio, you display Team Explorer. What are three possible ways to achieve the goal? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have C in Team Explorer, select compare files. Compare files is used for manual file comparisons, not for tracking changes in source control. Then we have E, run the vsdiff merge command. Vsdiff merge command is used for merging file differences but is not a primary method for source control comparison. As such, the three possible ways to achieve the goal are in Team Explorer, select compare with latest version. In Team Explorer, select compare with workspace version and run the tfdiff command. Thus, the correct options are A, B, and D. About the options, A. Compare with the latest version allows comparing the modified class with the most recent version in source control, helping identify changes. About B. Compare with workspace version enables comparing the modified class with the locally saved version before checking in changes. And about D. tfdiff command is a command line tool that compares different versions of files in Azure DevOps source control. Question 18. A company uses Dynamics 365 Finance. You have an entity named vendor V2 entity. You add a new column to the entity. You need to ensure that the new column is available in the entity for data transfer activity. Which two actions should you perform? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have C, select the entity structure button on the entity list page. Entity structure only displays the structure but does not update mappings for data transfer. Then we have D, select the modify target mapping button on the entity list page. Modify target mapping adjusts existing mappings but does not generate new ones automatically. As such, the two actions that we should perform are to select the generate mapping button on the mapping details form and select the Validate button on the Entity List page. As such, the two correct options are A and B. About the options, A. Generate mapping ensures that the newly added column is properly mapped in the entity, making it available for data transfer. Then we have B. Validate checks the entity for consistency and correctness, ensuring the new column is recognized without errors. Question 19. You create a bring your own database entity that includes four tables. You need to configure change tracking for specific fields in the entity. Which option should you enable? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, entire entity. Entire entity tracks all fields leading to necessary data tracking and potential performance issues. Then we have C, entity export. Entity export refers to data export process, not change tracking settings. Then we have D, primary table. Primary table enables tracking at table level but does not allow field specific tracking. As such, the option that we should enable is query. Thus, the correct option is A. Custom query allows configuring change tracking for specific fields in a BYOD entity, ensuring only relevant data changes are tracked, improving performance and reducing unnecessary data exports. Question 20. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You need to deploy a new report in a development environment. From which two locations can you deploy the environment? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, build project. Build project compiles the project but does not deploy reports. Then we have C, application explorer. Application explorer is used for browsing objects but does not handle report deployment. Then we have E, build models option. Build models option focuses on compiling models rather than deploying reports. As such, the two locations where we can deploy the report are package deployment and solution explorer. Thus, the correct options are A and D. About the options, A. Package deployment allows deploying reports as part of a deployment package, ensuring they are properly included in the environment. About D, Solution Explorer provides access to report deployment options, allowing developers to deploy reports directly from the development environment. Question 21. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You create a key performance indicator in a development environment. You need to display the KPI. What should you do? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, create a new workspace and add the KPI to the workspace. Creating a new workspace is unnecessary. KPIs are typically displayed using tiles within existing workspaces. Then we have C, add the KPI to an existing form. Adding the KPI to an existing form is not the standard method for KPI display as forms are used for transactional data entry. As such, we should create a tile and add the KPI to the tile. Thus, the correct option is B. About the option, creating a tile and adding the KPI ensures that the KPI is displayed in a visually accessible way within Dynamics 365 Finance, allowing users to track performance metrics easily. Question 22. You have a cloud-based Dynamics 365 Finance production environment. You need to access the data to create Microsoft Power BI reports for the business. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, Power BI embedded. It is used to embed reports within Dynamics 365 but does not provide direct access to data. Then we have B, views. Views help structure data within the database but are not the standard method for Power BI integration. Then we have C, aggregate dimensions. Aggregate dimensions support analytical reporting but are not used for direct Power BI data access. As such, we should use data entities. Thus, the correct option is D. Data entities provide structured access to Dynamics 365 finance data, making them the preferred method for integrating with Power BI and enabling efficient data extraction for reporting. Question 23. You have a cloud-based Dynamics 365 finance production environment. You need to access the data to create Microsoft Power BI reports for the business. What should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A. Aggregate measurements. Aggregate measurements define analytical data but do not provide direct access for Power BI. Then we have B. Aggregate dimensions. Aggregate dimensions support analytical reporting but are used within aggregate measurements. Then we have C. Analysis cubes. Analysis cubes were used in older Dynamics AX versions but are not part of Dynamics 365 Finance. As such, we could use Entity Store. Thus, the correct option is D. Entity Store is an optimized data storage feature in Dynamics 365 Finance specifically designed for Power BI reporting. It enables faster query performance by storing data in a structured format suitable for analytics. Question 24. The warehouse manager at Contoso Limited wants to display a tile in the user interface that will show total RAFs per hour. You need to create a key performance indicator that meets these requirements. What two components should you create? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B. Data entity. Data entities facilitate data integration but are not used for KPI calculations. Then we have D. TempDB table. TempDB table stores temporary data during processing but do not support KPI metrics. As such, the two components that we should create are aggregate dimensions and aggregate measurements. Thus, the correct options are A and C. Aggregate dimensions define the dimensions that help analyze total RAFs per hour, making them essential for KPI calculations. Aggregate measurements store pre-calculated data such as total RAFs per hour, ensuring optimized performance when displaying KPIs. Question 25. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You need to create a key performance indicator that shows total sales by region. Which two objects should you create? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, dimension for total sales. Dimension for total sales is incorrect since total sales should be a measure, not a dimension. Then we have C, aggregated view for total sales. Aggregated view for total sales is not a required KPI component. Measures handle the aggregation. Then we have D, measure for region. Measure for region is incorrect because regions should not be categorized as dimensions, not measures. Because regions should be categorized as dimensions, not measures. As such, the two objects that we should create are dimension for region and measure for total sales. As such, the correct options are A and E. About the options, dimension for region categorizes sales data by region, allowing KPIs to segment and display data accordingly. Measure for total sales calculates and stores sales data, enabling KPI tracking of total sales figure. Question 26. Your company is implementing Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations apps. You are using the acceptance test library to test code in Visual Studio. You need to create an entity test class to expose the entity properties. Which method should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B with. With methods are used in ATL for fluent API chaining but do not expose entity properties. Then we have C set. Set methods assign values to properties but do not expose them for entity tests. As such, the method that we should use is A farm. Thus, the correct option is A. Farm methods are used in acceptance test library to expose and interact with entity properties, ensuring proper data retrieval and validation during testing. Question 27. company is implementing Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations app, the company must test its native Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations app by using multiple values. You need to create a test case within a development environment. Which attribute should the test case use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, sys test category. Sys test category groups test cases but does not handle multiple input values. Then we have C, sys test row inactive. Sys test row inactive is used to disable test rows, not execute multiple test cases with different values. As such, the attribute that the test case should use is sys test row. Thus, the correct option is A. Sys row allows running a test case multiple times with different input values, making it ideal for testing scenarios requiring multiple data variations. Question 28. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You need to create an extension class. Which action should you perform? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have B, add the class buffer as the first parameter. Adding the class buffer as the first parameter is required for table or form extensions, not for extension classes. Then we have C, add the suffix dot extension to the file name. Adding the suffix dot extension to the file name is a naming convention but not a required action. Then we have D, mark the class as public. Marking the class as public is not mandatory. Extension classes can be internal. As such, the action that we should perform is mark the class as final. Thus, the correct option is A. Marking the class as final ensures that it cannot be further extended, which is a best practice when creating extension classes in Dynamics 365 Finance to maintain system stability and prevent unintended modifications. Question 29. You are using the systest framework to test code in Visual Studio. You need to create a unit test class. Which three attributes can you use to create the class? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have A, test filter. Test filter is not a valid systest framework attribute. Then we have D, entry point. Entry point is not used for unit test class creation in systest. As such, the three attributes that we can use to create the class are priority, owner, and test property. Thus, the correct options are B, C, and D. Priority defines the execution priority of the test, helping to organize test runs. Owner specifies a person or team responsible for the test, aiding in accountability. Test property allows adding metadata to the test for categorization and filtering. Question 30. You are a Dynamics 365 finance developer. You create a class. You need to mark the class to ensure that when code is compiled, the process fails if a specific method is called in the source code. Which attribute should you use? Firstly, let's eliminate the incorrect options. We have a sysEntryPoint attribute. It is used to define security access for service operations, not to mark methods as obsolete. Then we have B, get attributes. It retrieves metadata about attributes but does not enforce compilation failures. Then we have C, sysAttribute. Sysattribute is a base class for defining custom attribute but does not handle depreciation. As such, the attribute that we should use is sysobsolete attribute. Thus, the correct option is D. Sysobsolete attribute marks methods or classes as obsolete. If the marked method is used, compilation warning or error is triggered, ensuring depreciated code is not used. These were all the questions for this video. You can find the complete PDF of this video and our practice questions through the link down in the description. We will be publishing more parts to this series in the future, so please make sure to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.